8 to 10 a.m. and you're listening to...
Right, let's talk business, let's talk innovation, let's talk about growth as we often do. By the way, you have any thoughts on what's happened around that conversation regarding the Joburg mayor? I want to know about it. And Joburg Water, 061 766 0355, 061 766 0355. Comment on that, or even on the back of any of the Salam Media social media pages. Right. Let's talk now to Orin Tambo, who's the head of investment strategy at 27/4, as we look at the markets, we look at growth, and all things around finance and business and so much more. Orin, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so you've got probably 2-3 things you want to pick up on. What's your biggest issue today?
Yeah, I think it's the story around Thungela. It's the reported bumper profits. It's not something which is particularly unique to that company. We're going through a commodity boom, and almost every mining company is reporting very decent, very robust profits. And with Thungela in this case, they saw their profits more than doubling during the 2022 financial year. And the key driver, is basically the commodity prices. So we've seen core prices spiking over the past few months. But I think what really caught my eye in the story is not necessarily the profits that are reported by this company, but the fact that they were not able to export about 3 million tons. Basically because of the challenges that Transnet is facing. So, just to give you context in this particular company, they delivered about 12.2 million tons to the Richards Bay coal terminal during the financial year 2022. But they're saying they could have delivered about 15 million tons, so they couldn't deliver about 3 million tons. That's a concern, and we've been hearing it essentially from almost every mining company that exports the bulk commodities. We've had it from Kumba Iron Ore, we've had it from Exxaro. Essentially, almost every mining company is complaining about it, and it's quite a missed opportunity for South Africa because if you look at the past 3 years, you'll notice that the mining companies have pretty much been the cash cow for the country. They've been supporting our coffers to quite a large extent, but we are missing out to some extent. We could have essentially got more money from these mining companies, but we are not because of the challenges that Transnet is facing.
Yeah, and that, of course, in the broader context of mining being less important than it ever was, let's say 20 years ago, for example, as a percentage of South Africa's economy. Just staying with the Thungela, besides the commodity prices going up, and do you get a sense that it also reflects well on their ability to manage issues? In terms of management teams, you mentioned Transnet. There are big issues when management goes belly up and just doesn't do things well. What does that say about how they're managing affairs?
No, I think they've done exceptionally well. So, Thungela was spun off from Anglo about a few years ago because Anglo has got a strategy to reduce, carbon. So they've got a low carbon strategy which they started, and they spun off this particular company. And when it was spun off, we didn't actually think that it would do well the way it is done. But ever since July Ndlovu, who is the CEO, has taken over this particular company, and they have done exceptionally well. So even when you look at what they managed to export, it tells you a lot in terms of the company's ability to go for plan B and plan C. So every time when the rail network is under pressure, they've been able to find alternatives for them to be able to deliver the product. Production wise, they're doing exceptionally well. And they're being able to capture the upside that we're seeing in the commodity prices.
Okay, I understand. You have some thoughts on the Habib Overseas Bank being placed into curatorship. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so actually, so that announcement was made by the National Treasury a few days ago, yesterday actually, that they've placed that particular bank under curatorship. And it came at a very interesting time because we've seen quite a lot of international banks also being taken over by the regulators. It started in the US with the SVB Bank, about a week and a half ago. And then we had a Signature Bank again in the US, with Credit Suisse in Switzerland, which was eventually sold to UBS. So there has been, some issues around the banking sector. And so when we saw this particular story, we thought, it's probably, the same or similar issues that international banks are facing.
And what are the issues here? Yeah.
No, but actually this one was quite different. The curatorship was recommended by the Prudential Authority. So if you look at the RBZ, it has got two arms, because of the twin peaks. The Prudential Authority is responsible for regulating the banks and other financial institutions. Then you've got the FCA, which deals with other parts of other functions of the RBZ. So what basically happened here is they've got concerns around, the corporate governance of this particular bank, as well as the controls. And it appears that this has been prompted by the country being grey listed. So essentially what the Prudential Authority is saying is that this bank doesn't have enough control to be able to stem, illicit flow of money. So that's where it comes through, because we are looking at the liquidity of the bank. It's quite solid, pretty much meeting the regulatory requirements. It's even better than some of the banks that we have. So it has to do particularly with the controls they have internally.
Okay, that's a really important issue. Anything else you want to chat about before we sign off?
Yeah, so I think what's very important is, viewers might know there's another Habib GZ, which is probably a much bigger bank. And whenever you talk about Habib, some people would think that is so. These are completely two different banks. The one that operates in South Africa is called Habib Overseas Limited. But there's another bank that's also operating in South Africa, which is called Habib Bank Zurich. So that one has got the headquarters in Switzerland. So it's not the one that has been placed under curatorship here. It's the South African best, which has been placed under curatorship.
And we don't have the same directors or
No.
shareholders, no?
They're totally different. They have no links at all. I think Habib GZ is to actually put in an announcement on their website to indicate that we are completely different from the South African bank.
Okay. Thanks for clearing that up. Okay, let's leave it at that. We'll chat sometime tomorrow, I'm sure, Orin. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
There we are, Orin Tambo, the head of investment strategy at 27four. Well, I'll talk about changes. There's changes taking place in Scotland, and that's got to do with the leadership of that country within a country. Scotland, part of the United Kingdom. We'll talk about that with Yvonne Ridley in a moment.